What's up, everybody? Back in action here on Tuesday, September 10th. I apologize, 9/10. We are opening here on highs, which is interesting to me. Very interesting. Looking at this on a bit of a longer term chart here. Let's see. I do think we have up to 839, 840 to 850. I would be watching this 800 level. Let's see if this fails right here on the open. I don't hate that. I might wait for that secondary break. I might wait for that snap up. I'm going to leave this blue line here, even though that pre-market high is right there at 78. I'm using this as that breakout point, and then I'll use 82 there to help me out. I will put this back to the S&Ps. Alrighty. Same thing with the S&Ps. We'll put that there. We are opening over previous day's highs by quite a bit, so markets are now open. Let's see what happens with this. Hopefully everybody had a good day yesterday. Let's see if this sets up a little bit. Let's go with Microsoft. 1 minute. Microsoft, NVIDIA holding its 107.71 level, has crept up on the after hours and pre-market session to be gapping up over yesterday's high into Friday's high. So watch out for that to either be a rejection or to continue to rotate up. I don't know. Gonna let this thing dance around quite a bit here first. I will take my shot at my normal trade if it gives it to me, but I do feel like this is relatively strong, to be honest with you. Where's Friday's high? Yesterday's high. Opening range is almost exactly the same width as yesterday. Yeah, I was not trusting that right off the jump. So we are definitely waiting here to see what we get out of that. 800 right there. That's a nice snap there. I'm not even going to bother putting the overnight low in for S&Ps right now. Microsoft's going straight up. NVIDIA's going straight up. I did mention that we do have to see what happens up overhead. I think that this is actually a decent breakout right now. I was going to be patient with it, kind of waiting, let this thing do its secondary break of this level, which was good on us to be patient. Could have taken the long off of that, actually, but that's not something I'm looking to do right this second. I'm looking to be more patient on that kind of day. We are gapping and going. That's usually what we call this, like a gap and go kind of situation, right? When you're opening above yesterday's high and yesterday's close, which is down here, you're gapping up over that. This is where you tend to get continuation. Alrighty. So yesterday's range here inside that. Friday's range right here. The high of Friday is up here. So this is where we took our shorts on Friday. I would be interested up in that area again for that to come into play. However, I think we do snap into that a little bit more. The breakdown from that week, all last week, staying inside, but the recovery back to it. If this just goes straight up, I don't have any sort of entry. But if we start to recover, try to come back down towards that VWAP, then we have an opportunity potentially. But this is just how I am patient, letting this thing do its dance up above. Microsoft just ran right to 412. Once again, that same level we talk about on a daily basis. Seems to come into play pretty frequently here. This purple zone, rejecting that 412. If it can clear above 412 and continue to run, then this market's going to stay strong. But you can see how much it's selling off from that level. And then we have S&P, NQ and S&P. S&P failing overnight highs. If it continues to rotate down, then we may see that rotation in the NQ, and we'll start to smack into this as well. I don't hate that idea, still letting us play our failed breakout. Could be rotational again today. That's why I'm going to allow this thing to take my shot at it if it's going to work. I would like to see it get heavy through this opening range low. If it's just going to be a retest breakout, then, you know, I get in, I get out. But Microsoft's actually getting very strong, so I'm going to get really tight on this. Nope, I'm not yet. Over 800. If we get down to that red line, I'm going to go to even just because I don't trust it quite yet. Microsoft did pull back again to 412. I would like to see it down into that previous day high at least to retest that. Give us a sweep of that previous day high, but really trying to hold this opening range high right now currently. All right, we're at even because we flushed that low of that candle there. And I want to see what happens if it's reactive at this base. Okay, so we are pushing down through opening range low. I did not get anything off there, so that's fine. Trying to hold this a little bit more if it's going to snap down. NVIDIA coming into 107. Up about 100 here. Now I'm going to get snapped out here, aren't I? Nope. There we go. Nice little snap down. Real clean move there. Very good. So I'm going to take that one off at the overnight, the previous day high if I can get there. And then I'm going to trail out the rest of the position, let it kind of run a little bit to the downside, get down to VWAP, try and take one off at VWAP. If I get this one off, probably should take it off here. I'm going to try and give it a limit order there. If it doesn't come off, then we're going to get stopped out. Oh man, to the one tick away from getting filled on that and did not get filled. All right, we took off 60 something dollars there. That's a good start. Good start to the day. Nice push to the green side. Held that trade enough to allow it to break down some. I got one tick away from getting filled on that and didn't get filled on that first contract. And then I would have been able to hold that a little bit looser, but it's all right. I'm not looking to go crazy with this yet because I feel like we might chop around here some, kind of manipulate around this area based especially on Microsoft trying to hold above 412, and now NVIDIA just broke down below 107, so this could actually keep going. So currently up 66.78. Good solid first trade there. Nothing crazy. We didn't let it play out. So that's I wanted to take that one contract off and it just didn't fill. My entry was just below the overnight high here, this 69. So my entry was technically 67 quarters was my entry. And I just, didn't hold it long enough here. Still have that mini mindset at the moment. There's that heaviness. If we can get a retest of this area, then maybe I'll consider looking to short it again. This manipulation right here, I mean, letting the thing go up to 20, come back down, fail 800. We fail 800. And if you're going to come down below that breakout point from right here pre-market, then there's a chance that you're going to flush this area, right? So, and I wanted to at least retest this green line here, which we did. I wanted to get that first contract off there. I did not let it breathe enough. Should have just let it get to even. But, you know, Microsoft is relatively strong. NVIDIA has broken down, so we are getting lower. How's delay today? Does the delay feel better today than it did on yesterday? If we do clear above this, this could be a good long opportunity as well. But it feels heavy down to VWAP. Look at the mean reversion strategy playing out. Once again, day in and day out, the strategy works, right? Wait for that failed breakout. Allow the timing to happen. If it's not going to, especially today, right? We got CPI data tomorrow. We got PPI on Thursday. There's the Fed cut next week. Like, there's going to be a lot of pause, a lot of sideways accumulation type days. So you're not expecting like these crazy breakout runners. Yes, could it happen? Absolutely, right? If we just catch a bid here and start to run up, I'm not ruling that out because we gapped up over yesterday's high, which is what we're sitting on right now. And now we're going to try and rotate back the other direction, right? With Microsoft running up higher, you know, it would make some sense that this does start to recover, start to push back up. So took that first good trade there. I'm going to look to see maybe get an entry, potentially long. This is not a terrible area for it. However, it's still heavy. Microsoft and NVIDIA kind of doing different things here. What is Apple doing? Just to take a look. Apple selling off. I feel like Microsoft's kind of relatively strong. If NVIDIA can get back over 107.80 at 107.71, this could start to push up through these highs. Opening range low retest currently. Good stuff. Yeah, I was trying to get one contract off here, and I didn't get. Yeah, but Microsoft was relatively strong, and Nvidia was retesting 107. It is pulling back off that level. S&P's is also testing that breakout point, and we haven't made it back to that breakout point yet with NQ. So if S&P does crack this and hold, then I would anticipate this to run up there as well. So it's not a bad trail out. It's just kind of dancing around this area, and I do think that the timing of this is going to be difficult. This is, I feel like, a failed breakout where we could rotate and go, you know, try and clean up overnight lows. But not going to hammer into that here now, you know, so far away from my entry. I would like it through this previous day high. There it is. Nice heaviness. Be done. Lock it out. If you got that lockout button, use it. I'm still going to be looking to see what kind of opportunity I can get. This was the trade right here. I was up, you know, 150-ish on 3 contracts. Well, 120-ish. Tried to take one contract off on a limit, just ran away from it. And then I got stopped out right here on this candle for my my initial trail. So just kind of hindsight, once again, allowing this trade to play out, even though I think Microsoft's been relatively strong. I think that if NVIDIA does curl up at all, something like NVIDIA and Amazon, creeping up, and I mean, that would help this trade explode out to the upside. So with Microsoft strength and NVIDIA weakness, you can see stagnation here with the two market caps, the largest market caps doing opposite things. See Microsoft breaking to highs, NVIDIA breaking to lows, and then you lead to stagnation in the center here for Microsoft for the NQ. So whichever direction picks, like if NVIDIA picks to go long while Microsoft's still going long, then this is probably going to go upside. If Microsoft runs into this resistance here at 415 and then sells off, and then NVIDIA continues to sell off, then you get the sell off, right? So that's what I would be looking at. I do like the buy idea over that level, but Microsoft ran into that resistance at 415 exactly and started to sell, and NVIDIA is still holding below 107, but it is catching a little bit. So it's like inversely correlated currently. I would anticipate sideways action for today at the moment. We're not really in a great area. This is manipulative here, but it's not on super high volume, right? So it could still go lower from this 730 mark. Caught that first good trade there. Did a good job of kind of trailing it. Obviously, didn't get that one contract off that I would have liked to have gotten off. But realistically, I think we would have probably ended up with the same dollar amount because that would have took me off a third of the position size. And then maybe I would have been able to trail out a little bit more. But we would have been out here at even with the rest of it. I like the heaviness right now. We are trying to hold below that opening range low. If we do snap and flush through 730, expect VWAP to come into play. If we don't, if we hold and keep this relative strength, then up over this 82 mark, we should kind of try and hunt for a new high of the day. 80. If you get over 80s, you would expect to get to 800. And then if 800 rejects, so we don't have enough market depth to see that at 800 yet. You can see S&P is playing through that breakout. If it can get through that high of the day, you would expect NQ to also get the high of the day as well. NVIDIA creeping up, Microsoft creeping back up. This could be a momentum type play for you if you do play that breakout idea. I want to see NVIDIA break above 107 to really confirm it, though. I don't want to be playing this wick and get melted off because this is a really good execution point for me to go short. Tilts are pretty even, 65% NASDAQ, 61% S&P. I say if you clear through that 82, you snap right to 800. If you don't, then potentially rotate down. And if we get up into that 800, you would expect to never fail this blue line again, right? So then that would be a good area for a short entry, right? Because you're going to come back and do the same type of movement here. That's my thought on it. I think that Microsoft still has another leg up to 415, and then it'll retest 415. NVIDIA is now trying to break through 107.70. It's just running its head right into it. So if you, like I said, if you snap this level, watch for that snap to 800 momentum type move. If you don't, if you reject, then I want to see this fail. But this is like kind of how yesterday was going with that dancing around, snapping. We got to let it do its thing, tell us a direction, and then just play that direction. S&P's failing that overnight high, that breakout point. Technical overnight highs, pre-market highs was this right here. So we retested that again. technical pre-market highs right there. Tested it also there. I do like the heaviness. Still can anticipate this to be sort of manipulative sideways currently. Microsoft looking like it wants to sell from here. Getting heavy. I like this idea here. If it does go. Order filled. If we get to the green line, I'm going to even. S&P is getting heavy. NVIDIA is still heavy. Microsoft selling. Another good reason to get short there. We're going to even. And I'm going to start taking some. I'm actually going to trail the whole position. I don't want to take some of these off. I want to let it breathe a little. There we go. Another 60-something bucks. Securing us ourselves $100 and change so far on the day. 132. Very nice. Right to the green line. I'm just trying to take my little pieces and run. Just based on some of the manipulation that's going on. I don't want to, if it's not going to follow through that overnight high, that previous day high, then if it's not going to go quickly, then it's probably going to just do another rotation. So take my money, run, take my money and run. That's why I trailed the full position there and didn't just shed off that one contract because I really wanted to see if I can get a little bit more out of it. I would have liked to have gotten short at the high again, but I didn't. So I wanted to find another opportunity for some of that momentum to continue on. So 2 good trades, right? If we were playing full mini contracts, I'm doing 3 micros, so 1/3 position size. So, basically we'd be up about 300 or more on the day already based on just that. So just kind of calculate these things if you feel like doing the math that way. Micros are 1/10 of a full mini contract. So $5 per tick on a full mini, 50 cents per tick per micro. I'm trading 3 micros, so $1.50 per tick. We're trying to scoop up, right? And we've already secured ourselves a good day. No matter what, it's not how much. It's not if we're gonna make money. It's how much money we're gonna make on the day, right? Because I'm not gonna risk more than what I've already made so far. At the maybe if I find myself into an opportunity like this again, I'll risk that short through that blue line once again if I can get that type of price action, because I do think that rotational until after these data releases does make sense. So to expand out of this range, this definitely, it's already closed the gap, right? So it's acting as support. If it does break down, you want to see it break down pretty hard. That's why I wanted to see VWAP get tagged quickly there, and that's why I trailed out super tight, just based on the type of price action that we're seeing, trying to catch little quick scalps off of it. You can see our performance stats. We are back up into the green, back up to the right, doing a lot better with just taking our base hits. Yesterday did well. Today, sticking to the plan. These 2 we were trading full minis, as well as this day. I just got too tight. Price action lately has been very whippy, very expansive. There's been a little bit more volatility as far as in our position, our setup. So we had to let it breathe a bit more. And so letting it breathe a little bit more allows us that opportunity to kind of have these trades work out to a point where we could get more follow through this idea. So let's see if this does it again. Do we snap down this level again? Or are we going to go long? If you are new to the stream, I like to do mean reversion strategy. Sometimes I will play breakouts. I do feel like this does want to go to the upside at least one more time, maybe try and test 800. If we do get up over 800 and fail that, I would expect to not want to fail this again. This seems like it would be manipulation, grab some of these stops, grab some of these orders to run it back up and push it back higher. If it does do that, you would expect to never come back down through this breakout point because the liquidity should have been expanding this to the upside. So a failed breakout again would revert us back down through this blue line, back down and into VWAP, and then that's where I'm really looking to take my position 2, and then everything past VWAP is pretty much gravy. I do like to fully rotate down to previous day highs as well. I mean, overnight lows. These are color coordinated. Blue is overnight high, green is previous day high, yellow is overnight low, and red is previous day low. So I usually have it labeled, but on the full minis, right now I switched to micros to kind of just get back into a good rhythm, which has been working, right? The last 3 days we dug out a drawdown in the XFA, and we are now back in the green and new equity curve high, because I think we only made 160, right, the first day. 151 was the first day's winner, so we are back over that net equity high of 164, and this is just fine, right? Just base hit after base hit. This builds up over time. We have two qualifying days for payouts. Microsoft running into 415, NVIDIA running into 107. If these both reject that area, watch for the rejection failure here as well. I think, like I said, any squeeze over 82 should get you to 800. If there's big size on 800, it will probably squeeze through 800. And if it doesn't squeeze through 800, expect a hard failure pretty quickly. If not, you want to see if it'll rotate through high of the day. If this gets back below this blue line, I would anticipate it to be a rotation back to VWAP. But NVIDIA just broke over 107, pushing into 108. Microsoft broke through 415, so you do have some momentum on those Mag 7 names to the upside. I don't know what Apple's doing. I'm not checking. I think the most correlated right now are NVIDIA and Microsoft. And when they start acting together, that's when you can better time your NASDAQ trades, right? Because now that Microsoft's breaking highs, NVIDIA finally broke through that resistance area at 107.70. If it doesn't fail and rotate back down below that white dotted line, then you will actually have some push to the high side. Same with Microsoft. If that doesn't fail 415, then we do get some more movements. But I want to see, this should be that retest there. It should never come back down below the blue line. If it does, we should actually get a really heavy selling pressure down through into VWAP. So that's what my thought is. If it doesn't get over 800, then the full rotation may come in. And this time I'll take only one off at that green line. S&P is trying to fail that overnight high breakout point. And I think that rotation back down through the green line at 54.93. If it does get through that, then NQ should probably catch up. Microsoft and NVIDIA both kind of retesting that area that they just tried to break. If they can't hold above those two levels, then I expect the NQ to also follow through to the downside, which it looks like it's going to do right now. Maximus. Yeah, it looks like it's going to get heavy. So I'm going to take the short again if it gets through this level. Should get heavy through that level quickly. If it does do it, there it is. It should be safe if it's going to go. I'm going to take that one contract off down low. If it's not going to break this level, then we're going to get out above the overnight high pretty quickly, which is actually technically this opening range high too. So looks like S&P's is heavy and Microsoft's dancing around with that 415. If I see Microsoft pop, I'm going to snap out of this. I liked that short. I still like it. It retested that support line there pretty solidly. Microsoft did break above. I'm surprised that held actually. Let this candle close and then make a decision. Also, I usually don't trade within 5 minutes of an hourly close, so I made a mistake there personally, but I think that this is just good timing on this short. If we can get to that line again, I'm going to get to even, so we should not come back up. There we go. Now it's just a free trade. Let's see what happens with it. I actually want to set this to ones so I can just buy my way out of it when I want to with the hotkeys. Let's see what happens. I want to see if this will flush. Get through that opening range low. Oh, no, we got snapped out there. See that with the little bit of a spread there? It's usually why I don't trade within an hourly close. So I'm actually very happy that I was able to get out of that with a little bit of a mitigated risk on break even, because I don't like to be in right at 9 o'clock. I like to let 9 o'clock settle in a little. That first half hour of the day now has pretty much created the range. High of the day so far is 821, and the low of the day so far is 721. So this is where I would anticipate now either we're going to get a manipulation out again. I didn't realize the timing, so slightly broken rule, but did a good job of mitigating that rule break for myself. Could have caught another $60 on that, made it a nice $200 day, but I decided to let it dance, make it a free trade. Now it is 9 o'clock. I can execute, but we can see Microsoft and NVIDIA both finding a bounce on the bottom of their little range that they got going on. If Microsoft can break down this support level that it's at right now, then we do have a little bit of downside for it to come back to 412. NVIDIA is still kind of just within that pre-market range, sitting on top of the after hours market time, like 107.12. We'll call it 107 even. Starting to catch some strength here. This is the 1 minute opening range, is blue box here. S&P's 1 minute opening range is right here, 830. That's the opening range for Microsoft, S&P's. So you can see the difference here. S&P's trying to be below the opening range, and NQ holding above the opening range. Microsoft breaking out, NVIDIA also creeping back towards that 107. So these are things that you got to be mindful of, help your positions out. Again, just feels like it doesn't want to break out. It feels like it maybe wants to stay really sideways for a while, especially the way S&P's is diverging right from the NQ. I think Microsoft, if it's going to continue to hold and continue to go upside, then we do have a little bit of momentum. But if it breaks down below 415 and NVIDIA is at 107 at the same time, that could lead to that selling again. Right? Just sell. It's very range bound, very sideways. If you don't have the trade set up for this, then I wouldn't do it. But to me, this makes sense. Gonna take it like that again. If Microsoft gives a heavy breakdown, I want to be involved. It lost 415 again. S&P's found VWAP and is supportive. NQ relative strength, right? Holding the opening range high, and S&P is still beaten down, trying to get through VWAP. NQ is so far away from VWAP. Microsoft trying to break down now. See if that helps this idea that I have. Get us short one more time. I've been playing with this level so far all morning. We've taken out 155 on it. I think if we can get a really nice flush here, we could get to VWAP at least. Maybe take that one off and then see how far down, if we get a full rotation or not, to the other end of the overnight session, right? Just to see, just to clean it up. Doesn't mean that it's going to rotate downside and melt off or anything like that. Just kind of understanding that with the data for the rest of the week, the likelihood of an expansionary type day doesn't seem more, doesn't feel like a good chance that that's going to happen today. But it could, right? It could still stay within the previous day, Friday's range. I'm in again, short. Honestly, if we get over 80, I don't like it. I don't like it over 80. S&P is still heavy. Microsoft trying to reclaim 415. Just that's my only issue with this not getting heavy quick. Because if Microsoft catches a bounce, then we probably end up getting snapped out. So that's why I'm going to only risk to just over 80, because I think if it breaks through this, we get to 800. And I don't want to be out at 800. I want to be out here. I don't like that dance that we're doing here right now. There we go. Heavy there. Come on, get heavier. Get heavier. Microsoft getting long. It's deciding here. It's making a decision. This is a decision point. I'm still leaving that stop here. If we get to the red line, I'll get to even, and then I'll see if I can get a free trade out of it. This is, you can see, look at how that's deciding if it's going to snap down or not. There we go. Very heavy. Very heavy. Let's see if this is the true breakdown now. Give it to me. Come on now. Give it to me all the way down. All the way down, please. I've secured myself a $200 day there. At least another $50 winner if it snaps me out. If it continues to rotate all the way down, we'll get a lot more out of it. But it's just holding that opening range low, which is crazy. S&P's is melting off. Probably should go to even on this trade so I don't get snapped out. Yep, there it is. It snapped me out right there. But we secured a $200 day. That's a beautiful thing right there. The power of micros still working out really, really nice for us this week. Another great day here in the XFA. I can still find another opportunity. I mean, I'm playing this range like nobody's business. You've really just taken it off right here, 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 here. Just playing this blue line, playing for the melt. I do think this still melts off, especially if Microsoft can give us a sell side pressure, right? Once this Microsoft breaches this blue line and gives you a heavier pressure to the downside, then I think that's when the NQ goes, because NVIDIA's been sideways. NVIDIA's been sideways. Microsoft's been up and to the right, right? Up and to the right, sideways. Here's our sideways price action, but slightly to the upside. So we're just looking to see what kind of, to be able to be green in this kind of market environment here is just, I'm very happy. And I say anything over this squeezes us to 800, right? So let's see if that actually happens. Looks like it's going to go. This is where I wanted to keep myself from getting into it. Right there goes, squeeze right to 800. So that's another thing I want to start looking at, maybe capitalizing on, is when you manipulate down like this, to see that now that pressure through that key structure level, that 82, push us right to 800. That's a good 20 points that you could catch real quick, and then you can trail out the rest of the position or let it go and see how far you can get this thing to run now that you've held relative strength this entire time. If we do clear the high of the day, which is here, this is the high of the day so far, watch that to continue on to the upside. NVIDIA right back to 107.71. Microsoft pushing up towards 416.50. So that's another interesting setup. S&P's flushed really hard. This to me tells me that we want to go the other way. This flush of VWAP, a little bit higher volume here, lull, higher volume here on the break back up. If we can continue up and breach back above opening range highs, this tells me that we are looking for that next rotation the other direction because of that manipulation to the downside. You never got that here on the NQ, but you did get that hard little flush to the bottom of the opening range, which usually leads to another, leaving this opening range behind and trending the other way for the rest of the day. However, it could still do whatever it wants, right? I do like downside pressure. That's my favorite part of trading. I trade much better to the short side than I do to the long side because I find that the longs grind a little bit more. I just want to see if it breaches its high of the day. Top step levels. You can see how close their levels are to mine. I don't know what they are, but I have them there. Microsoft just very strong today in relation to everything else. I want to see what Amazon was beaten down a little bit. It has crept up, but it looks like it wants to get heavy from these highs. Tesla crept up, is selling off. Google is on its lows. AMD, I just want to see what it looks like. AMD crept off of that pre-market high. Yep, the only thing holding this market up is Microsoft currently. So maybe another shot at this. Do I want to take another shot at this? I secured another $200 a day, just building this buffer one day at a time. I do feel like this does have heaviness, and I missed it, so I don't have an opportunity now. There's the short again. This time maybe is the day. This might go, but you could always trail it out, right? Take that one off and then let it ride if you are looking to just keep hammering that level, right? Thank you, Mr. Trapper God. Appreciate you. First ever my little Twitch session here. I'm trying to expand my my reach here in the trading community and the streaming world. So I do believe that this now is going to get heavy. We failed this 800 once, twice, 3 times. So now you're getting Microsoft. The only thing that was holding us up is Microsoft, and Microsoft's now starting to give you that breakout down here. This S&P flush is really telling as well. So Microsoft here still holding relatively strong. I don't want to put this here. I don't care what that is. Realistically, if we can get back below 415, then I feel like 412 could come into play again, especially with NVIDIA being beaten down and holding below 107 constantly. Any sort of weakness in Microsoft is going to lead this to rotate us back down to overnight lows. So we're looking to see, can the overnight lows come into play here now that we've failed that opening range high? We've failed 800 once, twice, 3 times. We've failed the overnight high, which is technically just the breakout point from pre-market here, right? I would love this back to VWAP. That's my normal mean reversion trade. Failed breakouts over overnight levels, over previous day levels, and into VWAP. And then everything else from VWAP is gravy. You can get full rotation through down to the other end, and, especially if you're going to see it catch up to the S&Ps. S&Ps clearly broke through VWAP and now is rotating towards the opposite end. This is yesterday's opening range, which doesn't need to be here. So I think that you crack through this previous day high, you may want to get some acceptance. I can't enter here because it's just so tight to VWAP, and I'm looking for VWAP as a target. So looking at VWAP as a target here, I wouldn't want to enter this close here, especially with S&P's so extended down. Microsoft is breaking down through 415, so you do have that option if you want to. I just don't because it's so tight. I'm already up $200 on the day. I'm not looking to risk it with a tight risk parameter here. It looks good. I do think it's going to go all the way down. I really feel like the accumulation phase here, right? You have the accumulation fail of 800 there, a fail of 800 here. It's just part of my rules, I don't like to short my levels if I'm so tight to VWAP, because technically my normal target for where I want to take things to, where it's going to be reactive to, is VWAP. If this were to be a little bit, would have been tighter up in here, I would have took the break of both levels. But right now, this is where I get like manipulation, so I technically don't like it. But I really do think it's still very heavy, especially when you can see S&P is pushing right down into 54.71. This 692 level could be reactive from, you know, all this reaction yesterday on that level. I'm just, like I said, I'm up already on the day. Now I'm going to be really looking for A+ type setups. And it was right here where, I mean, I've taken that short how many times so far? Charts and data. Let's see. Save. You can see I shorted it here. I shorted it here. I shorted it here. Right? And I shorted it here. I played with this level. For some reason, it only shows at the top of the candles that I shorted it on, but I was only short through these blue line every single time. And I just took it to the bottom of that. And then this is the, you know, time that I really wanted to take it, talked about taking it. And I'm, you know, just was a little cautious on it based on the way Microsoft was acting and where we were at with NVIDIA. But NVIDIA failed, which helped roll this to the downside now. So this is really the ideal. Failure of 800 should never come back down below this overnight high and then rotate, you know, back down towards VWAP. So that was my thought on this trade, actually, the way it was going to work out. I just, you know, didn't take that last one, and I'm still just fine with securing $200 today, and just continuously stepping this trading, you know, one day at a time. I appreciate everybody coming into chats across all the platforms. If you're on YouTube, don't be afraid to head over to tradecaster.com. If you're on Twitch, tradecaster.com. It's where I trade all day, every day. Well, all day, 8:30 a.m. till 11 Central Time. I do try my best to focus everything on the Tradecaster lobby on the chat there. So if you do comment on Twitch, if you comment on YouTube, I may miss it. It's okay. I will come check it every once in a while. If you decide you want to get a membership, I have a free room in Tradecaster, so you can go over there, get the 7-day free trial, and still access me afterwards. But if you do find the benefit of going over to Dex Room and AK's Room and some of these other trading videos, if you want to get into any of the boot camps, anything that we have educational, and you want to pay for a membership, use my name, Policing Pips, to get yourself 10% off all memberships always. So that's a good thing. Microsoft failed 415, which really rolled us over, and that was the help that we needed to get this going to the downside. I'm going to turn off executions just because they just mess with my eyes. I don't like seeing them. All right. So as much as I wanted to get rid of this little stupid trend line thing here, it was so reactive here, it was reactive here, and here. The actual real true break, if you wanted to play that, was you could have caught it here as well. I'm not looking to enter on that necessarily. I just want to use that as confluence to kind of get my move in order and just kind of keep my head in the game. 54.71, you can see that level reacted beautifully. 18.692, once again, support right there, right? So that's why I mean, realistically, could have still shorted that and made a nice little trade out of it. But the tightness to VWAP, the proximity to that next key level didn't allow me that opportunity right there to get short from there. Really, the short is from that overnight high. If you miss an entry, don't chase it. If you find that you still have an opportunity, then allow yourself to find a good risk to reward setup in an area where maybe if you were to trail it, right? Maybe this manipulation here, break, retest, you can use that and then mitigate your loss, maybe to opening range low and see if you can get further downside out of this. Like I said, I do think downside pressure does continue until Microsoft comes down to 412. NVIDIA did find support at 106 quarters, and 106 even. I really pretty much it dipped below that quarter line. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. I'm another qualified days to payouts. With Top Step, you have to have 5 days of winning days, $200 or more to qualify for your payout, and which is a good rule to have, I think. It just kind of proves consistency. And you don't, I mean, if you did like 20, 30, 40 days of $100 and you want to take a payout, I'm sure there's at some point during those days, you're going to hit $200 if you're that consistent, right? So they really just want to show consistency, not YOLO into a $10,000 winner and then just take, a 10-cent loss, $22, $3, days, and then try and take a payout over a period of time, right? I understand people want that. I think if you want to have these prop firms stay around longer term and be able to leverage them, you're going to want them to have some of these rules to keep them around, right? You want to be able to have, people who don't follow these rules, you got to make money somehow as a company. So they're making money in ways that, if you want them to stick around and you want to follow their rules. I think that Top Step has been around a long time. I've been with them for a bit, on and off. We're looking to, secure this payout on this account again after we build up a buffer. We're up $236 after being down $1,000. So yeah, they're making money on all of us. Don't let them fool you. Absolutely. You can see the combines I have. There you go. Ineligibles. So they make money on me too. But my risk to reward on combines to payouts is still net positive. So I'm not too upset about that. Yeah. The end game is try to leverage it as much as you can. Get your payouts. Eventually, I'm sure there'll come regulation, or I'm sure there'll come where people get shut down, and you're gonna have to bounce company to company. It's just gonna happen. Just do your best to learn as much as you can while you're into these companies. Leverage them while they're here. Consistency. Using the features that they have to your advantage, follow their rules, and you'll be just fine. I think that's really what it comes down to. We've just secured another, like I said, third day in a row where we secured enough for a qualified payout day. I don't think I'm going to trade any more on this account. If I get an A+ setup, maybe down at that overnight low, I will. I'll look to maybe take one shot at it. But to give back, I'm up enough for, like I said, the payout structure. And I've taken really good quality trades around my key structure levels. Most of the time, if I keep trading, I tend to give it back. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it out. Manual lockout. Top Step is great. It allows you to do a manual lockout. If you can get Top Step X, it will... there's a lot of benefits to having Top Step X. If you are somebody who wants to trade micros like we're doing right now, it's a 10-to-1 micro leverage. So if you want to trade, you're allowed to trade, say 5 minis, you could trade 50 micros, right? On the other platforms that Top Step has, NinjaTrader, Trade8, they only do 1-to-1. So if you're only allowed to trade 5 minis, you could only trade 5 micros. They are working on making that better, from my understanding. I don't work for Top Step. I just use their accounts to my advantage. But I like Top Step X. There's no commissions. You're only paying exchange fees, which is, the cheapest that it's possibly going to get for you as far as trading is concerned. Especially if you're a high frequency trader like Abby or some of the other people in the room that trade, dozens of times a day, you're gonna need to keep those commissions low. And I think that that's a really good feature here on Top Step X. They also have the tilt meter, which I find good, which we're seeing right now, 72% tilty to the short side. Usually when we start creeping this into that 80+%, you start to see a rotation the other direction. So just be cautious on that short. If you are seeing the shorts stack into it, that's usually when the bigger guys want to rotate the other direction. So I use that as a kind of out indicator or something that will be that last layer of confluence for an entry. Looking at the biggest feature I find is, there's tons of really good features, but that lockout button that I just hit, right? I basically just talked myself into not trading the right. So I'm like, okay, I've made all my good executions. I lined up all the reasons of why it's a good day so far, right? I stuck to my plan. I allowed trades to work properly. I had good thesis, right? If it fails 800, it should not come back down below overnight highs. If it does, it'll fail and rotate down. And then my trailing rules worked out really well. Could I have caught this last one? Absolutely. I was just kind of talking through it and I missed it. I kind of talked about missing it, but I didn't chase it. So that's a good part of following your rules. Don't chase it if you miss it. Sticking to your rules. So all of that, I talked myself into, if I keep trading, I have a qualified payout day. You need 5 of them. Might as well take it now while we're still building that buffer. And then maybe tomorrow come out, I'm going to come out every single day and stack the win streak, right? So if I can continue this, $200 here, $200 there, at the end of the month, I'll have my payout and I'll be very happy. So going in and locking myself out, kind of talking myself through it, saying, usually if I kind of overdo it the rest of the day, I give some back. So I don't want to give it back. I didn't have that big of a buffer over the $200 mark to risk, right? So hit off $200, lock myself out. You can set your own personal daily loss limit, so it'll lock you out at that loss limit as well. I set mine to 550 just because I'm risking about 200, 250 a trade. I normally won't take full losers. I did last week on minis because we were just very whippy, so I switched over to micros to allow them to breathe, and it's been working since because the strategy has been working. I've just been whipping myself out of it, and that's unfortunate because there's a lot of money to be made if I would just let it breathe a little bit more. But just with the account size plus drawdown, all the reasonings why I wouldn't want to be max loss, right, on 2 trades. So I'm usually taking smaller cuts on if I see this, like I said before, if we squeeze, when I took this short here for that last trade, good morning, Profit Trader. When I took that short here off the top, I said, if we really squeeze over 82, right? I got in here and started to creep back up. I said, if we squeeze over 82, we're definitely squeezing into 800 because that's how price wants to react. So I would have not taken a full $200 loser. I would have taken $100 or, just over $100 on that loss if it were to have lost. Obviously, you see it worked out and I trailed and took my profit on it. But, and then you could see that next push up above, we squeezed 82 and right to 800 and beyond. So that's the thesis, in the back of my head, understanding like cutting my loser before actually getting stopped out. When you could start getting into that habit of cut that loser, timestamp it or whatever, it's okay to take that small loss because if you don't, then you're just going to be like, oh, I'm going to take that next one. Oh, I'm going to take that next one. And I'm going to keep extending it out, right? You don't need to take, just because it's approaching your stop doesn't mean you have to let it hit your stop. You can cut your loss beforehand, right? So getting into the habit of cutting your loser early, giving that your personal drawdown limit, that room for that next trade. That next trade could be this one right here, that nice heavy flush to the downside. We are getting some higher volume pushing in right now, bigger orders pushing up into this level, this opening range level here. This is the 1 minute opening range. You can see that there right now. I think we are more likely to stay rotational, to stay kind of choppy, to not give you great price action today. That's another reason why I locked out. If we were to rotate all the way down to overnight lows, I would have liked to have taken that long, but realistically, I know that, what's the benefit of me not locking out there? There's really nothing. So took that money, ran, locked out. So another qualifying day here for when I want to take my payout. If we go to the performance stats, like I said, here's that up and to the right equity curve. Today we were 4 for 4, currently sitting at around a 64% win rate. This is a bit skewed, the average win to average loss, because of switching to micros after switching to minis, after taking minis. So you can see it's a bit skewed. And it's also taking into account when I take partial profits. So it's counting all of those partial profits as not the same trade. They're all their own individual trades according to the system. So really it's kind of skewed because yesterday I took partials on a few, but the trade was like $400, right? So it's kind of slightly off because right here you can see best trades 327, and that's not really the case. So I try to keep my biggest loser at 250 right around. So that's really where I want to be at. We're starting to push this back up and to the right. This is the 2 max loss days that I set into place. Set your own personal loss limit. That's going to really help you out. long term because you don't want to go max loss limit, especially now. Top Step removed their daily loss limit, so you could just burn an account in one day, nice and easy. And just draw down $2,000 and be out. So you have to set that personal daily loss limit, otherwise you're going to burn your account, guaranteed. Nvidia's creeping upside, and Microsoft's right back at 415. So watch out for a break above. Just wanted to kind of go in and journal this and just say, play the overnight high, failed to break the 800 level multiple times. Took a few shots short of the overnight high and trailed out well. So also, Top Step X has a built-in journal, so you don't have to really do anything. I like to just type in some notes daily, just to kind of, if I want to look back, okay, what am I doing here? What did I do there? With these 2 days, the levels worked. I got slipped on an entry here. Realistically, that first trade was a break even. It slipped 100. It slipped 7 whole points because of just terrible price action that day. Tried to make it back, did the same thing, crept up, kind of took a couple base hits, and then I took another two full losers there, which kind of killed me on really not bad entries, just bad risk management because the size of the like I said, with that slippage, the way prices was reacting that day, should have came down to micros and traded the micros to allow that room to breathe. I just was a little stubborn on these 2 days. Back to back. This one was 2 trades, basically. Got wicked in and out, bang, bang, and you were done. So, ever since the switch to micros, our winning trade days have been bigger, right? 550, 406, 204. Tomorrow we could do the same deal. Just look to see how much we can catch around our levels, around our key strategy. Be very stubborn to our strategy. That's all I can do is just be extreme ownership, right? Allow myself to stick to every rule that I possibly have. Yeah, there's a selling. I mean, I really don't think. I mean, every time we come into this level, unless it shows that it's going to hold above, you're not going to get that real like firm breakout yet. This is also if you go into like the 5 minute, you can see how tight these ranges are. It looks super gross on the 5 minute, right? This is very tight. This is an expansive candle here. If you wouldn't think that this would break, if it breaks in either direction, I should say, that's where you're going to start to get more reaction. So 800 or down through the low, right? You could see this is stacking up right around that 700 not mark. So it's a 100-point range. If you can capitalize on that either direction, it's not a bad deal. It's just something that a lot of people aren't really able to do because they want to capture momentum. And a day like today, there's not a ton of momentum. It's sideways. VWAP is flat. Price has just lingered around the opening range. At some point, I do think one way or the other, it is going to go and break. But, when is that going to happen? Where'd my 62 level go? It disappeared. This level is key there. The direction is sideways. So the reason I kind of explained it in the early part of the day and yesterday and in my write up. I expect when you have low data days where there's not going to be a ton of releases, there's not a big earnings, there's not, this is the Fed quiet period. We do have rollover on, starting this week. So there's a lot of reasons why the price action is going to be muted up until CPI and PPI, right? You think that the inflation numbers will drive you out of whatever range that you're kind of stuck in. Nobody wants to be in front of whatever direction it goes on the wrong end of it, right? Because realistically, the data has been showing, X, Y, and Z. The Fed basically all but guaranteed a rate cut for the 18th. So you're looking at all those factors, and Monday and Tuesday in a low data week with a Fed quiet period, you don't have anybody jawboning out there talking about what their thoughts are on what the Fed's going to do because they can't really speak. So this quiet period, everything leads you to believe that nothing wants to break out, nothing wants to be trending. You're not going to get follow through in either direction. So you're going to have to understand the day that you're having and look for opportunities accordingly, right? So I'm looking for failed breakouts, especially on days like today, because why would we want to expand from yesterday's range where we were basically sideways for much of the day? It's a wide range. However, it's still sideways. It's still inside of Friday's big dump off, right? We had this big dump on Friday. We're middle of that range now. There's not any reason. Maybe we come up into, like I said, up to close to that 19,000 number, but that would be a slow grinding move, and it would probably be initiated by CPI tomorrow. There's not really a reason why beforehand it would just snap up. Like, you're not going to get that really good snappy follow through on it. Could it happen? Absolutely. But the likelihood of it happening is more muted because of the type of day and the type of data you're getting released. The price doesn't move because it wants to, right? As much as everybody thinks it's all technicals all the time. Yes, it is. It's very technical intraday. But broad market conditions, macroeconomic events, there is a fundamental driver to this entire market. So if you don't understand that there is fundamental analysis that needs to be, these institutional people aren't just clicking buttons based on trend lines, right? We use the trend lines to our advantage, partnered with the confluence of what type of day it will be because of the macroeconomic events, right? Just kind of keep those things in the back of your head. I don't just trade just to click buttons. Like, I talked about how this does feel like it wants to go. If it fails, we should take the short. Could have taken some of these longs, right? Took the long there, but not expecting that big follow through to the upside. So, realistically, like I said, I'm just here to react to the intraday movements based on the macro environment and the longer term, big daily structure, and seeing what kind of where we want to be next week. Where do we want to be in a month? What's going to happen to drive us out of this range? You need a reason to get out of the range because the big players are using reasons to get out. The HFT firms and stuff like that, the high frequency people, they don't care as much. They're just taking like ticks. They're trading size and they're just manipulating up and down. They have computers trading. They understand dynamics. That's where some of the technicals come in because they sort of manipulate the standard technical setups. But that's intraday noise. When it comes down to it, if a larger player wants to move the market, they can move the market. That's why they hide their orders in much smaller size. Overall, like I said, I think, like Ray said, one and done, one good trade, and no need to risk anymore for the rest of the day. For me, manually locking out to, go ahead and secure what I made today. I really think that this is overall just going to be sideways. You're not going to get real clean, true moves on a day like today until tomorrow. So I will be very happy to secure what I did. If it goes here and now and it runs up, like, good. It's not something that I'm looking to catch. It's not part of my plan. And my plan has been done for the day. I have secured what I needed to take for the day. I can now, if I were not streaming till 11 for your entertainment purposes and educational purposes, I would not still be on this chart. I find that this is something that will lull people into taking executions that aren't their A plus executions. It will push you into wanting to trade just to trade, just to click buttons. I know Abby likes to click buttons. I know she likes to make a lot of money. Still in that practice account environment, start building that muscle of avoiding trades that aren't actually there. Build that muscle of taking less trades but higher quality setups. Try and take things that make sense, because at any point you'd be like, all right, it's hitting this high. I'm going to just short this high now. It's just because. And that's the time it's going to break out, manipulate you, stop you out, and rotate the other direction, right? It's just going to do everything here today is probably algo driven. It's probably in the mindset of it's just going to be high frequency traders just taking advantage of short term time frame people playing patterns, and it's going to start manipulating you in and out and in and out. Microsoft's flat and sideways, Nvidia's flat and sideways. You're not getting a lot of Mag 7 volume. So stay out, avoid it, and build that good habit of, I'm up on the day. I made good trades. I did good things. Why am I going to ruin my day, ruin my mentality just to click buttons, just to get chart time? If you want to get chart time, just sit and stare at the computer. You're building a better habit by sitting and staring and watching it than anything. No, absolutely. I know you understand it, but I need you to start if you believe that you're failing combines and you're not making money, there's something that needs to change, right? And just by clicking buttons and just by making a bunch of money on practice doesn't mean it's going to translate, because when you start getting into the emotions of real feel, you're going to start to panic into it and try to make more instead of just letting what makes you money make you money, right? So whatever's working for you now, try and keep it going, but also build the habit of staying out when it's not necessary, right? Like this is not just a target at you. I just use you as an example because you're the only one that's talking. Yeah. Controlling losses by not trading it into things that don't necessarily need to be traded, like this environment right here. I'm just talking about like today's price action being more of a trap for people who don't understand what today would bring, why it would be this way, right? If you don't understand why the market is doing what it's doing on each individual day, then you should probably, if you do make money or if you lost a little bit, it's a good habit to build to kind of stay away or just watch it and see, okay, what happens around the highs? What happens around the lows? Are we reacting to VWAP? Are we anywhere near certain levels? What are we doing? Are we expanding out of yesterday's range? Are we expanding out of a previous week's range? Where are we in regards to like monthly levels? What's driving this market currently? What are the data points? What are the Mag 7 names doing? Is small caps doing better than large caps, mega caps, stuff like that? So just use days like today where you're maybe not executing as much to understand the broader market conditions and build on those little other pieces. When I started initially, I always ended my days red, but now I don't. So I think it does work well, but I need to control loss and grabbing 20, 30 points. I think it's definitely not bad. I don't think it's bad. I didn't say anything was bad about what you do. I'm just saying build the habit of knowing what market conditions you're in. Because days like today, for people like you who do a lot of trades in a day, this is where people like that get into trouble because they start to try and find momentum at places where I'm going to play the breakdown and it doesn't break, and it play the breakout, it doesn't break, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to fade it, and then it breaks out. I'm just giving you the advice of having done it in the past, where those types of days to me tend to get over traded more than under traded. And this is where you just need to find those better setups and you'll be fine. Obviously, you're green today, just trying to build those good habits. Yeah, it's like I said, I wasn't picking on your strategy. I don't think there's any wrong strategy. I think just I use your example because I know you trade a dozen times a day or more, and that's what today is gonna trick some people who maybe not necessarily understand that that's what's gonna happen on these days. You could be green and you could be doing great. I'm not. I am not judging. Just using it as an example. This is where most of the time I just would like to walk away because it's just not worth, you see the lower volume. You can see volume ticking up a little bit, but with VWAP sideways, that means price is just lingering here. It's stuck in a 100-point range, which for the NQ is kind of tight. Yeah, absolutely. Getting into why this is doing what it's doing is this, right? We don't have any data today. Crude oil stock inventory is not doing anything for us. Redbook not doing anything for us. These bill auctions might move the market slightly, but they're not going to do very much of anything, right? Rate changes haven't changed much. They're just kind of pricing in these bills and these notes, right? That's not going to move this. If you're trading bonds, then yes, that might move the bond market, but we're not trading bonds. We're trading equity indexes, right? So you're worried about the inflation ticking up or down, right? We've been seeing a downtick in inflation, supposedly, according to their manipulated data, right? So we've been ticking down in inflation. People have been spending more, spending less. So we're looking at this for indication of what the rate cut is going to look like. Is it going to be a 50 basis point? Is it going to be 25 basis point? Or is it going to be more than one, right? That's what this data is all. That's the only reason that this is important. Because realistically, it's not actual real life data. So we're looking at producer price index and consumer price index. And then you're looking at jobless claims. These are the things that we're going to be watching for the rest of the week. And the consumer sentiment, yes, I think is important, but I think it's also, like I said, I think all these numbers are fantasy land numbers that don't really mean much in real life, but for the markets, they do get priced in. They are events that will move markets. Yeah, this is all manipulative. Everything here is manipulative, especially, I mean, if you really wanted to see that coming, NVIDIA is sideways, and right as that broke down, NVIDIA was catching a bid off of the bottom of that lower band of VWAP there. Just another bounce. So, and then Microsoft bounced exactly at that same point at the previous point where it fell down. And you can see right there, Microsoft has been holding that support for today as well. That initial breakout point of 413.16-ish. Even if you call it 413.30, that's really where this price has held. So that was more of a lack of a follow through to the downside because of everything kind of being at the bottom of a range, right? 949. Price has literally gone nowhere. Literally gone nowhere. I am willing to go over anything that people want to see, look at, or whatever you want to do. I am done trading for the day. I am not taking any more executions. I don't find today to be ideal. Although I could have made another once, twice, three times short off that overnight high and made some good money on it. I just didn't trust it. Um, Once I've went to the well a few times, I'm pretty much good to go on the day. I'm not willing to give back a qualified payout day for just a little bit more potentially. I did want to take this short here. I talked about why, the failure of 800 and that squeeze up. I just didn't get into the position to execute it. I really just was more cautious. Once I've gone up up to that $200 mark, I was more cautious to wait and see kind of more confirmation. I had NVIDIA pushing up into 107, so I didn't want it to break out and then manipulate me in and run. So I was just 1 second a little bit late to trying to catch it. Once it melted, I wasn't going to chase it. Talking about this short here through that low, I talked about I don't like to do it because it's so close to VWAP, and you can see why that VWAP was there. And it held. Short at 72, 720. 54.71 could be your indication for the bounce. So if it does continue through 54.71 on the S&Ps, watch for this NQ to keep going. 61s, there we go. Watch for that 61 to come into play. You can see 54.71. There's a good bit of consolidation here from the pre-market. That was a good trade right there. Very nice. You accepted into overnight previous days highs, failed to break out of previous day highs, and rotated back down through VWAP. I could see why you take that trade. There's a good momentum trade there. Microsoft broke through that 413 at that same time. S&P, NVIDIA also broke through, down through that low. So good confluence, good short, very nice. And then, like I said, once you get to 54.71, you can see there's the bounce, right? Clear 54.71, and then now you turned around there. So using some of the S&P levels to your advantage here could help you with outs as well as entries. Doesn't mean that it won't follow through that level, but that it, if you're scalping, especially the way, I just only talk about that because she's the one speaking about things, right? But, if you're looking to catch 20, 30, 40 points, using some of these other levels to know when there's going to be some reaction is a good help on when there's going to be a bottom and a manipulation in the NQ. It could still continue down after the fact, but this does seem like, if we're going to hold that support there and this is starting to turn around, I should take my money and run because we could rotate back off of that level once again. Yeah, you can't hold anything really in this. You have to be it's either see your profits and take it or cut as soon as it starts to go against you. That was like the biggest talk through this is the follow through is going to be very limited in a day like today. So if you can take your executions, take them, but you're going to have to it's going to be more of a type of day where you take your short, take your long, and then just cut it. So understand the type of day it is. It's not going to be like Friday, where Friday or even like yesterday. Yesterday, I was able to capture these more flowing moves. I think more so because it was a Monday, because of the big move on Friday. We were able to kind of get that rotation through the lows, and I was able to catch this piece of this move and then the long all the way back to the top because of that. You can see the follow throughs, you can see the extension, but also knowing that if it wants to be range bound, it probably wants to recover the same type of move to the upside. So you're able to hold that a little bit better. Daylight today, you're holding these highs, holding these highs, holding these highs, holding these highs. Will it break down at some point? Potentially. Will it break out at some point? Potentially. But right now, you're getting muted follow through. It's more of a, follow through. And no, we're going to rotate the other way. We're going to go. No, we're going to go the other way. And it's just kind of, if you take the highs and the lows and just kind of secure your money, Some people can really trade both ends of this, and they're very good at that. But you have to have that plan in place, knowing. Yeah, at this point, if it does break above the previous day high, you gotta watch and see that green line. Give me a minute. What's going on? No complaining. What? It's right here. Oh, oh. All right, Max. Have fun at your test. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. You wanna go to music? Come on, Max. Give me a hug. Give me a hug, buddy. You gotta go to your test. Hey, sweet. I know, I get it. Look at what you can't slide it, buddy. You gotta go. Go, go on. Okay. Give me a high five, buddy. Have fun music test, buddy. Go, buddy. Nice hustle. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything that people want to go over, let me know. I'm all but done for the day. Looking to see what kind of opportunities we'll have for tomorrow. CPI. I don't know if I'll be on stream tomorrow. I think I have to take the wife somewhere early in the morning. I might be on for the number, so I might come on at 7:30 and then bring my son to school. And then if I do get on later, I will let you guys know. If you want to know if I'm going to stream or not, you can always check my Instagram. I usually post the days that I don't stream. I usually post that I'm not streaming. So. Overall, good day today. Being able to manage this risk, we saw sort of what we were looking for. Good hold of this key structure level for S&Ps. I drew this up yesterday sometime for reaction based off of some Friday numbers. I think that this is a good, obviously it seems like a really good area for interest. Microsoft is pushing back down towards that 412 number. It's finding support here. NVIDIA is still very sideways. It's curling back up some, but there's just not a lot of volume in this name. Um, the only thing that was really holding the market up was Microsoft. At the moment, it's not really doing that, and we're still relatively. I would consider it not that it's relatively strong per se, but we are still in that range where we want to be deciding what we want to do at the previous day high here. So this is the previous day high. Are we going to accept into previous day highs, yesterday's range, or are we going to expand out of yesterday's range and try to test Friday's range high? It's 10 o'clock here, Central Time, sideways price action. Not a lot to do. I think best obviously for me, I locked out. I'm not trading this, but overall, I took my few trades, and I'm done for the day. It's just a sideways day. This is where big players aren't getting involved in front of the CPI number. This is more algo driven. This is lower volume. Just kind of expected that it was going to be a sideways Monday and Tuesday. Monday was more expansionary, so you were able to take more advantage of the swings. This today is very tight range. It's very good for high frequency traders, very good for algos to manipulate through levels and whatnot. So just kind of be mindful at any point during today. 10:30 is the euro close. Maybe after that you'll start to get even less people in this market and maybe more expansion. This is that last half hour of their session. So potentially that last half hour will lead to maybe some movement, but like I said, I don't believe that. I'm not convicted in either direction until after CPI. Yeah, I wouldn't consider it really a manipulative day. I just think it's just like I said, it's the participants aren't bigger players. They're not accumulating larger size right now. They're not looking to be in before the inflation numbers come out. It's just really it seems like just a bunch of HFTs and algos playing with themselves. Because usually if you see some of the bigger volume come in and the cleaner, broader moves, that's when you're going to get the bigger players coming in. I haven't seen like I'm on the MNQs, so I haven't seen very huge size, especially for the MNQs to be playing, only with 20s and 15s. That's not very big on the size. Yeah, institutions aren't trading on the. So also, like I said, it's rollover, almost rollover season. The quarter is coming to an end. This contract is going to start pushing into the Z month, I believe the December contract. So you're going to start to see volume flowing out of this contract and into the December contract. So I would be cautious. What's the let's see. Let's see what that one's looking like now. NQZ. No, what's this month? NQZ 2024. It's still very lower volume, but currently it's trading at 18,943. So it's trading up here currently. So when we do roll, that contract's going to show much higher than where we're at right now. this is what I'm talking about as far as the next contract. Once this starts smoothing out, you're going to start seeing higher volume stepping into this contract, the Z contract, which is the December contract. We are in NQU currently, which is the September contract, which we will roll this over come next, like this Friday or Monday, depending on when Top Step decides to roll it. Usually they'll roll it when the volume on Z exceeds the volume on U, right? So currently we're trading the NQU. You can see the choppiness. There's not a huge amount of players in here, but you're going to start to see the volume from our contract currently rolling into here, and then you start to see more and more movement into here. These are actually bigger players. They're rolling their positions into this. So there's gonna be some irrational behavior going on into roll into OPEX as well. So I think that's Friday. So I would be cautious as the week closes out because of the rollover, because you're going to start seeing people flow into this next contract that we're rolling into. So this week coming up is definitely it's tricky when it comes to rollover. And I'm going to put it into, let's go with NQ CME volume. All right, so this is where you could really tell this. Let me get back to that. I'm going to go to this chart here. So what we're looking at here is volume and open interest on the current contract. You can see that our contract is the NQU4. So those of you who have not been trading futures very long maybe don't understand that these are futures contracts. They expire quarterly on the equities. So S&Ps, NASDAQ, YM, Russell, we expire quarterly. So and they're cash settled, so you're not going to get delivery on anything. So we're day traders. We're not worried about delivery. We're not worried about any of that, but we are worried about the open interest in the contract that we're trading, right? So currently, at close, you got 241,000 contracts in open interest on the September contract. Currently, you're only seeing 18,000 in the December contract. You're going to see as this week goes on, you can see we added 2,900 to this. This is going to continue to go up, 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 and you're going to start seeing this go down. 241. It's going to rotate. You're going to start to see this, rotate into the hundreds, and then this is going to get into the hundreds on this end. So people are rolling into this contract here, larger participants, larger players. So you're going to get sideways price action like we have now, people rolling out of their contract here, selling hundreds and thousands of orders to go into this December contract, right? So total volume yesterday was 500,000. Yeah, and then there's only 10,000 yesterday executed, right? So no block trades. This is a cash position. So once we note that this is going to expire come Friday, I believe, or not necessarily, the contract doesn't expire until the end of the month, but the rollover happens now. This is when we start to see it. So you're going to start to see all of this happening here. So be mindful of this. If you want to keep track of this on your own terms and you don't, I'm not around or whatever, click into that there, the CME group. CME group does, I'm going to post it in every chat. CME group has tons of great information. As futures traders, understanding that there is tons of data out there that you're able to really get good information out of it, right? So you want to be able to come in here and see what, things about all the information you want to find about anything that you want to trade is in the CME group. Anything that trades on the CME group, you can get their information, right? So you could go here and you can see the overview of what this contract's all about. Roll Analyzer. Here's a tool, the Roll Analyzer. You can create an account. I don't have one right now, but I use all the free stuff. This will tell you the roll interest, daily activity on roll activity for equity index futures, and you can see it in a graph form. So that's actually probably something worth making an account for and paying maybe in the future. So you could see their quotes, what they're kind of trading at, with their auto refresh, where we settled at. This is all free data. So settlement is actually a very important number as well. Where did we settle yesterday on September? This is volume and open interest. And just watch this, and this will help you make your decisions on when you're going to get into the next contract or not. When you're trading on your own personal brokerage, most of them will require you to manually roll. Some of them won't. Some of them auto roll. I would roll it manually once you see the volume exceed the volume in the previous contract, right? Here are your margin requirements. Most of the time, maintenance margin of $21,000. So really, if you're in a brokerage, you're going to need some bucks to trade. However, a lot of these brokerage are giving you scaled margins where you're only needing $1,000 to trade minis. So just understand that if you really wanted to trade, and safely do it without these margins, $21,000 is the minimum to trade one. But in these other, that just kind of gives you a relative idea. It's not anything that's hard and fast because every brokerage has different rules. And here you can see all of the featured products that they have in the CME group. Just kind of going over this. Corn, soybean, oil, natural gas, S&Ps, NQs, euro, 10-year notes, whatever sulfur is, gold, copper. You can see everything you need from these S&P, from these futures, right? Anything that's on the CME group, this is where you're going to find the information, what the trading symbol is, right? All of everything that you could need to know about everything you want in these markets is in this website. So use that website to your advantage. It is definitely a great tool. You're also going to get the FedWatch tool in there, right? So CME Group also has FedWatch because they're able to price it in based on equities, futures, and options flows, right? So right now we've ticked up to 71% of participants believing there's only going to be a 25 basis point cut. When we started the week, it was down to 69%, and a higher percentage were thinking that we were going to get 50 basis points. So based on the CPI data tomorrow, this number is probably going to change as well. Deck doing his thing. So understanding those macro events, understanding what kind of day you're going to be having as far as what is trading. If you are somebody who needs to trade, start looking into other things. Like maybe let's see what's crude oil doing. Crude oil had a big move to start the day. Sell side move to the downside, right? You had some opportunity here. Find reasons to trade these things if you really want to try and execute. Gold, I don't know what gold's doing. What's gold doing? It's kind of rangy, but still some opportunity there to make some money on gold, some opportunity to make some money on oil, but I don't have strategies that are based on those things, so I stick with NASDAQ and the S&Ps pretty much exclusively for what I do. You could do whatever you like, whatever you feel. If you need to trade more, need to trade less, it's up to you to make those decisions. Take your extreme ownership and work on, developing strategies for multiple things. But if you can read a chart on, if you can read a chart on one thing, you could read a chart on everything. And it's just a matter of understanding the behaviors that some of these things do as opposed to some of the other assets. Anybody who's watching this that maybe hasn't been around very long or, hasn't traded or hasn't been in this room or whatever, if you have been in here, like I said, I kind of just reiterate myself a bit. Today's price action, yesterday's price action, kind of anticipated inside type days, lower volume, muted for multiple factors, right? CPI tomorrow, PPI Thursday, Fed quiet period leading into the rate decision next week, rollover in equities. Just lots of things kind of going on here that would decrease the volume, increase HFT behaviors, increase maybe algos just kind of playing in the market. Larger participants are avoiding this because they're not really positioning on this contract anymore. They're positioning into potentially they're starting their roll to that December contract. So we just kind of went over what that was, what it means to futures and how you can deal with that, by just being patient and waiting and allowing, price action to kind of be like, okay, today is a sideways day for the session that I can trade. I trade 8:30 in the morning till 11 Central Time. So for me, what kind of opportunity am I going to get after the trades that I took? Now that I took these trades, I was better off locking out because obviously you could see there's really been zero follow through on anything either direction. Even on the failed breakouts, you're not getting that full rotation. Even so, this is that 1 minute opening range, and we're dead center of that 1 minute opening range, and we're almost 2 hours into the market open, right? So don't be tricked. Don't be trapped. Don't let the HFTs take advantage of your pattern recognition. Don't let, don't fall into the trap of, oh man, it runs into this and it sells every time, so I'm going to just sell it now, because then that's the time it's going to run on you. Use confluences to your advantage. Use the equities to your advantage. Order flow if you can. Another good long, but price went back and forth before it took off. Yeah, I mean, if you're very good at in and out, I mean, those hotkeys will help. Clicking that break even, getting in, getting out. If you're very good, very quick, you can make money on these little quick snaps. Hard take profits. People are starting to get long here, 71% on the tilt. You should develop a robot to trade for you. Microsoft curling back down. NVIDIA running into the higher end resistance. Does this now just stay in this range? Like I said, I think until 10:30, this is the last half hour of that European session. You can still see that there's not a lot of volume, not a lot of trading going on. So then we could definitely see this at 10:30 potentially being when there may be a little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of room, maybe movement, but I still think it's all the same participants. I don't think there's a lot of bigger players coming into this market right now. I'm going to hop off at 10:30 because for me, realistically, I'm providing as much value as a dead doorknob at this point. I'm trying to include certain lessons that I can kind of reiterate on the with the CME group, with rollover, with using confluences. Personally, to get off and do something else and be productive throughout the day today will be more beneficial to me than sitting here trying to catch any sort of little tiny movements in these markets. My strategy is to try and catch pieces of big moves. Like I would love to catch a piece of this, right? I want to catch a piece of this movement here or this here. Like I did yesterday, we caught a piece of this. We caught this almost this entire move here, right? We're able to catch pieces of bigger moves to let ourselves at least have an opportunity to maximize our gains on the days we do win. And then if we lose, then we lose small. Don't do dumb shit. Develop good habits, extreme ownership, all that fun stuff. It's all going to come into play. Yeah, I would like to hold them longer too. I think trading these micros helps with the holds because you could trade 3, 4, 5 contracts, 10 contracts, shed off some at places where I normally would just trail out the entire position and then allow the rest of the position to run. So the scalps may be smaller as far as my total profit gain, but it limits my downside risk and it allows me to take off more pieces as it goes. So I could actually technically make more of those moves and maximize my ability to catch more of those. I do a good job of trailing, I think, and noticing when price wants to turn around with my single minis. If I take a 2 contract mini and take one off at that 1-to-1 or at that major structure point, if I can get into the habit of leaving that other entry at break even, then allowing that to run will really maximize profit. So just working on that every day is really, I think, what everybody needs to do, is just try and find what that little thing is that'll help you hold something a little bit longer, or developing better rules that are going to kind of just keep you more consistent in your profits. I'm not a person who has set take profits as far as like maximum gain. It's out there, but I want to just squeeze out as much of whatever the move is, and then when the market tells me to get out, just get out. Or when it gets me out, realistically. I do, by trading the NASDAQ, I get myself whipped out more than not, because it is very manipulative, as you can see. The more you look at it, the more you trade it, the more you understand that. Yeah, mainly scalpy. I mean, I think pretty much everybody that's in here is pretty scalpy. I'm only looking to catch as much as possible. I'm not looking to be a swing trader holding it for hours and days, right? It'd be nice to have like a little piece that does run, but I would like to be more cash more of the time. I would expect a rotation the other way at some point. Here, it's very just sideways. And it's going to frustrate people to a point where they're going to be like, all right, fine, I'm going to go short here. And then it's going to snap their face off. Well, while we're here, I will go over to daytradingcoffeecode.com, where you want to subscribe and save. You get 15% off code sent to you if you do subscribe. I am the sole owner and operator of Day Trading Coffee Co. So use my code PolicingPips to get yourself 15% off all of your orders all the time. We sell freshly roasted coffee delivered to your door. So think like Black Rifle Coffee Company, Death Wish Coffee Company, stuff like that. Everything that we do is roasted on order. So, we have everything from dark roasts all the way down to decafs. We have espressos and K-cups, everything in between, right? Hats, shirts, mugs, cups. Don't do dumb shit. Get in there, get your swag, remind yourself what you want to be doing every day, how you want to fuel yourself. So we got definitely a good assortment of clothing and coffee. I drink our coffee every single day. I am a coffee snob. I would not be selling anything that I do not enjoy myself. So you can always use my code PolicingPips. It scrolls across the bottom of the screen all day, every day while I'm streaming. So you can see it on the bottom of the screen. I do post education in here every week. I post my weekly market analysis. I also do, the boot camp. I do any sort of coffee breakdown. So I'm probably going to write up another coffee education post sometime, either today or tomorrow. Post that out there. I try to keep as much education as I can out there, as best as we possibly can, to just provide as much value as possible on the coffee end and on the trading side. Back to the charts. Like I said, I'm going to stay on for about 5 more minutes. There's no reason for me to be on here very much longer than that. Sideways price action. If you made money today, keep your money. If you're working on things, keep working on things. There's more than just charts. There's more than just trades. You could always get books, work on mentality. If this is not the environment you like to trade in, clearly most people don't like to trade this. A lot of people are trend type traders, momentum, breakout type people. This is not that kind of environment. Just be cautious. understand what rollover is. If you don't know what rollover is, click through that link that I sent, and you will be able to have a better understanding. I will pop it into the alerts so it's over there as well. But I think overall everybody has done a good job today, seemingly, of just being patient, taking their time, allowing this market to do its little back and forth dance. NVIDIA is cracking through VWAP right now, potentially looking to squeeze up. Microsoft still bidding up. This is that 5 minutes prior to Euro close, so maybe they're looking to snap out of trades if they are in it in any sort of direction. So just understand that. I appreciate everybody always coming by. Like I said, normally I'm on here every day, 8:30 till 11 Central Time. Today I'm cutting out 10:30. This is just not price action that's worthwhile. We did qualify another payout day, so we're 3 of the 5 done. We still want to build our buffer, obviously, but today was another step in the right direction, leading us to, once we switched to micros after going into drawdown. See, we drew down a bit, switched over to micros, and have just steadily climbed back our back up. This is the weekend, so that's why that's flat there. But you can see went down, starting to creep this back up into the right, looking for our next payout within our funded accounts. So just one day at a time. I'm focusing on this XFA right now in this good market environment for me personally. September is usually a down month historically. We are going to lead into October and November election season. Once this rate cut comes in, see how the market reacts, and we're going to go from there. But these 2 days, obviously, max drawdown, personally, lock myself out. The power of that lockout button, the power of setting your own personal daily loss limit, do those things for yourself. I manually locked out today once I realized things were done. I think this is just not like to be any sort of, I'm not showing off. I'm just showing the power of the possibilities that you can do these things if you just stick to discipline, right? So that's just my goal with being as transparent as possible. I don't hide my balances. I show you guys everything that I do. I want to be as open and transparent with you guys as possible to show the realities of trading, show the ups, the downs, the sideways, price action, everything that we're seeing. It's stuff that I wish that when I was starting, more people were more honest, right? I think that that's my goal in this whole journey. I don't get paid for anything. I do my trading. I stream just to be helpful. It helps me as well. Sometimes it hurts me because I'm worried about, stream health. I'm worried about conversation. I'm going over certain things. Sometimes it may be a detriment, but I think it's more net positive for me to come out here and stream and really just be helpful and be company and be honest with everybody. Sometimes I might say brutally honest things, and that's just something that you're gonna have to get used to because I'm not really good at sugarcoating things. So overall, I hope that everybody has enjoyed their day today. I'm going to continue to keep doing it every single day, showing what we can be doing as a team. Really, I just want to make sure everybody is good. Even Dex saying, he's reiterating kind of my point. It's almost like he's watching and understanding what I'm talking about. I want to read it to you because I feel like it's very helpful. Traders, I want to tell you something that has really helped me in 2024. In 2024, I've made it a goal to walk away whenever I am in the green. In the past, I would trade 2 to 3 times, but up to 1,000 and say, okay, let's see if we can get to 3,000. I would end up giving it all away. I think the reason why I have such an insane win rate of 80% is because I walk away a winner. I've eliminated my gambles and just take the 100% money. So that's basically exactly what I reiterated. I mean, what I was saying the whole time, it reiterated my whole day's preaching of go up green, lock yourself out, go up, on the day, lock yourself out, go walk away, take a walk, understand when it's not your day, or understand when you've made really good executions. What are the chances of that next execution actually being worth the risk that you've already made on the day, right? So if you can walk away green, in any sort of the way, it's a positive reinforcement of I did the right thing. I made my executions. I stuck to my plan. I walked away. That's it. Every single day. So if you could do that consistently, it feels boring. It feels wrong. It feels like you're giving money away, but you're not. You're just doing what is good for the day, what makes sense, and then you move on, right? So my goal, $2,000 to $5,000 a day, if I could get there. That's just kind of allowing these accounts to build themselves up. So the goal of this one for me, I'm going to get as big of a buffer as I possibly can before taking a payout, and then steadily just take the payouts as they come. I'll build this account up as big as possible to avoid any sort of drawdown period, and then we will continue to grow. So there's that 1030, a little bit of a pop. I said that 1030 probably gives us a little wiggle with the euro close. There's that wiggle. See if it gets up over 800. If it does, it may start to continue on. If not, you expect a rotation back the other way, right? So this is where the people will be like, oh, I could short here again and pop you off, rip your face off, stop you out, and then people start picking tops, and then that's when the trend might start happening. So just be careful. I'm going to cut off now. If anybody has any other questions, comments, concerns, let me know now, or I will see you on Thursday, because tomorrow I have to take my wife to do some stuffs. So I'll probably be on actually tomorrow morning, 7:30 for the CPI number, just to show you that. So if you want to be on for 7:30, I'll be on at 7:30. I'm going to cut out when I bring my son to school and go out. So I appreciate all of you. Until tomorrow, 7:30, I'll come on for that CPI number, and then we'll see kind of what kind of price action we get from it. But until then, I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.